For you cat guys, you can change this without taking all this off. I had to change 2 of them. I watched a guy do it, and that's how I learned how to do it. You got to use like engine lube, assembly lube. Lube it up really good, cut it just the right length where you can squeeze it, and then it'll pop back up there. All right, good afternoon. It's Friday. Let me show you what I started with today. My project today. Teresa and I drained the coolant out of the truck, and I'm replacing those valves that go right there. They were leaking. So that was my project today. We're getting ready to go to Tucson. Remember I was telling you about the sensor in there? I wiggled the wires and it came on. It was the temperature sensor. Now, I found out something about Caterpillar yesterday. I called Cat down in Tucson. That sensor right there, that's Peterbilt sensor right there. It goes to the gauge. Caterpillar doesn't have anything to do with that sensor. There's a sensor, let's see, it's tucked up under there. That's the temperature sensor there that talks to the computer, that tells the computer when to turn the engine fan on when the truck's getting hot. That wasn't coming on. I would have to use the manual switch. So I wiggled it and it came on. I have a little scanner tool, code reader little thing. Let's go over here. I'll plug it in for you real quick. So I have this little scanner right here that I bought. I bought this for my pack car. It reads some of the codes, but not all of them. Let me see if I can get this in here. Hang on a second. Okay, hopefully that'll show up. But if you read where it says coolant temperature and engine manifold intake temperature, before that was reading 32 degrees. Now it's reading 76, which is the outside temperature. So anyway, I got that little scan tool. That's how I knew it. That wasn't that little sensor wasn't working. So I don't have to worry about that. But let me close this. So that's what we're getting ready to do, is go to Tucson, me and Teresa. Here, look over here. I'll show you the valves. So here's the valves that I need to replace. And it's got to have that 90-degree angle on it. So I don't know if they'll have the exact same thing or something different, but we'll come up with something. So, all right, we're going to Tucson, talking a bit. All right, good morning. It's Saturday. I went and picked up the valves and whatnot needed. I'm going to do a couple other things while I'm working on it. So this right here is the coolant filter, and that's what we're replacing, is the valves that go in the coolant filter. And we're also going to replace this coolant line right here, this one right here. It's a little brittle, so I bought some silicone hose. We're going to replace that fuel line. The other ones felt pretty good. The other thing we're going to do is down on the bottom, if you can see it, there is a connection right there. That's a plastic connection. I'm going to replace that. That is from when I had the generator on, when I first took it apart, that I put that plastic piece on there. And then there's another one. There's 2 more right here. And the reason I'm going to replace these is I did have an incident where one of these melted. So we're going to replace those 2 right there. And these hoses go to the heater in the sleeper. So we're going to replace those. I bought some brass connectors, splice, whatever you want to call them. So that's what we got right there. And we're going to finish up the hoses. I want to get the coolant back in the truck as soon as possible. I don't like leaving it dry. I think the seals have a tendency to wear out. Or not wear out, but dry up. All right, let me get started. I think since we don't have too much in the way right here, we'll go ahead and do this hose first. All right, we got the old hose out. And I believe I got some more of this stuff in the barn. But this is a little brittle, so I wanted to go ahead and change it. And, all right, we got that radiator hose in, or that coolant hose. I got the new plastic on there. Brackets on there. Everything's tight. So, okay, so now we're going to move on to the engine coolant, and you can see how brittle these lines are here. These are all pretty good. These are pretty soft. So let's move on to here, then we'll be done up in here, and then we'll go down and do the connections down on the bottom there. All right, we're gonna put the first valve in. I had to remember which hose went where. All right, we got both valves in. I had to keep checking to make sure which line went to where. I should have took a picture, but I got it. This back fitting goes down here. This one goes there. So I got it. I took the old hose and checked it. So now I just got to cut the hose, which is pretty simple. All right, got the new valves on, the new line on, new coolant line on. I bought this this coolant filter a while ago, and you hear that rattle? That's the not electric lights, whatever. That's the stuff to keep the coolant from bubbling and pitting on the cylinder walls. I'll think of it here in a second. Nitrates, that's it. So it's got nitrates in it that this has been on here a long time. All right, hang on. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on that seal right there. I'll be right back. All right, put a little bit of oil on that seal right there. I read an article that talked about coolant filters. You should always have a coolant filter. I know some trucks aren't made with them, but they're not that hard to install. All right, so that's on there. That's on. Let's go ahead and open these valves up. All right, so we're done right here. We're going to move to the back here, and I'm going to do these fittings right here real quick. That shouldn't take too long to do. Okay, I got the old plastic one out. So these is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about, these plastic ones. I had one of these melt one time. I put these in when I took the generator off the truck and put it on the new truck because I thought I was going to sell this truck, and I'm glad I didn't. So anyway, I want to go ahead and put the brass. I bought some brass ones. Put the brass ones in there, and then I don't have to worry about these melting. So I just wanted to show you what I was talking about with these plastic ones like that. So I'm up under the truck. I ended up making a little more work for myself. I did not like, I was changing this metal one right here. I didn't like the way this hose felt. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this hose here. I'm gonna go down to the parts store, see if they got any silicone hose. But yeah, it felt pretty bad. This gets a lot of the road grime up on there, so that was why. But it just felt a little stiff. And since I got all the coolant out of the truck, I replaced all these hoses probably, well, before I parked the truck, probably a couple years before I parked the truck. So and they're still all pretty flexible. But I don't know, might do this one. This gets a lot of heat back here from the turbo, so I might go ahead and replace that one too. We'll see. All right, I got what I needed for the truck, and I got that hose on, but the wind, like I said earlier, the wind is going to pick up, and that's what it's doing right now. So it's blowing pretty good. So I don't want to leave the hood up. If you look at the trees, you can see the wind blowing pretty good. I don't want to leave the hood up because I don't want the wind to catch the hood and blow it. So we're going to move on to the step. I bought the nuts and bolts that I need. So let's get that mounted. All right, so it's still windy out here, crazy windy. Trees are blowing, but we got the step mounted. So it looks pretty good. So this is what I ended up doing right here. So this is a 1/2 inch grade 8 bolt right there. And these spacers are actually from the generator that I took off. So at least something came in handy. So I put the spacers there. But like I said, I didn't want to drill any more holes in the frame. I probably could have chopped that off and then drilled another hole, but I didn't really want to get into all that. So that's mounted there. And then over here, and then the fender, I'm going to cut about an inch off. I got the cut wheel right there. I'm going to cut about an inch off right here, because if you look, I push it all the way in. Let me stand back here. See how that fender sticks out a little bit? So I want to tuck that fender in a little bit. So I'm going to cut about an inch off there. I cut an inch off. It should tuck it in pretty good. So all right, I'm done for today. I got more dirt and whatnot in my hair and everywhere else. I didn't quite finish the quarter fenders. I'll work on them tomorrow. But we got all the hoses put on. I think I showed you guys all that. Up under there, we got that done. And here, well, I think I showed you the top side there. I'll show you tomorrow. I worry about the wind catching the hood and either twisting it or flipping it over. So tomorrow morning it'll be a little calmer. Wind usually doesn't start till about 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon. So anyway, and like always, this video is sponsored by Dorsey Trailer, so check them out. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.